Chapter 36-26. The appearance of the nine-clawed dragon had caused an uproar in the public area. The nine-clawed dragon was a top-notch prodigy even in the heyday of the divine dragon race. It was extremely rare. But now, one had appeared. And its combat power was shockingly strong. I heard that this nine-clawed dragon said that it wants to kill all of us. Someone revealed the news, causing the crowd to be angry. Kill, we can't let this nine-clawed dragon live. Let's join forces and kill this nine-clawed dragon. Many people spread the news that they wanted to join forces to hunt down the nine-clawed dragon. Especially the races that had attacked the dragon race in the past, such as the winged men and the Wu people. They were even more active and actively contacted experts to surround and kill the nine-clawed dragon. Let's hope we can get through this. Lu Ming whispered. Relatively speaking, he still had a good impression of the dragon race, and did not want Ao Guan to be killed. He paid attention to the situation in the illusory divine jade while cultivating. Soon, a month later. Finally, there was an explosive news. The Wu people, the winged men, and other major races had joined forces to hunt down Ao Guan, but they were hunted down instead. That was because Ao Guan was not alone. In this battle, in addition to Ao Guan, a young nine-clawed dragon, 3 8-clawed divine dragons, and more than a dozen top-notch prodigies of the dragon-human race had appeared. After an intense battle, the outsiders suffered heavy losses and hundreds of experts were killed. In the end, Ao Guan and the others were unable to kill them. Ao Guan and the others fled. In this battle, the outsiders suffered heavy losses and caused a huge uproar. There was not only one nine-clawed dragon, but 2. What trump card did the dragon race leave behind on the dragon race's mother planet? How many dragon prodigies did they leave behind? The illusory divine jade was not only connected to the dragon race's mother planet, but also to the entire Eldritch universe. Not only were the prodigies of the various races on the dragon race's mother planet discussing it, but the stronger prodigies of the various major races, and the older generation experts were also in an uproar. Not long after, it even shocked the top 10 powerful races. Not long after, a big shot from the angel race, the soul race, and the blood race each called for the prodigies of the various races on the dragon race's mother planet to join forces and hunt down the remaining dragon race members. Those who succeed will be heavily rewarded by the 3 clans. As soon as this news came out, it shook the entire starry sky. The angel race, the soul race, and the blood race were all terrifying races that were ranked in the top 10. The strength of each clan was unimaginably powerful. They had a deep foundation and countless experts, enough to intimidate the entire starry sky. Back then, among the clans that attacked the Dragon Clan, these 3 clans were the strongest. Now, the experts of the 3 clans had announced that they wanted to hunt down the remaining members of the Dragon Clan. Those who succeeded would be rewarded handsomely. These were the top 10 clans. How shocking would their rewards be? Countless people were envious. The prodigies of the various races outside the dragon race's mother planet couldn't wait to rush into the dragon race's mother planet and kill the remnants of the dragon race. Meanwhile, the sky prides of various races on the dragon clan's mother planet were in an uproar as if there was an earthquake. One after another, messages appeared in the public area. They were all about the experts that had emerged from the dragon clan. There were 9-clawed dragon, 8-clawed divine dragon, and dragon human. Lu Ming was also among them. What does this have to do with me? Lu Ming was speechless. He wasn't a dragon human. It was really an unexpected disaster. Moreover, someone from the Winged Men clan knew him, but they didn't come out to explain. Of course, the Winged Men clan couldn't wait to kill him. It would be strange if they came out to explain. Lu Ming was speechless. He quickly took action and asked the people of the Black Dragon clan and the Blood Dragon Hall to hide in the Black Dragon Valley. The Black Dragon Valley was very special. As long as they hid inside, no one could enter without the Black Dragon token. Lu Ming also entered the Black Dragon Valley. He wasn't afraid, but he didn't want to cause more trouble. Now, the 3 top 10 clans had ordered the experts of countless races to join forces to deal with him. If he went out and fought with these races, wouldn't he offend the forces of the entire universe? Then how would he survive after leaving the Dragon Clan's mother planet? He would probably be hunted down all over the universe. Therefore, if he could avoid it, it was better to avoid it. Of course, if he couldn't avoid it, Lu Ming wasn't afraid. No matter what race they were, he would kill them first. With the experts of the 3 top clans speaking, everyone was very active. Soon news kept spreading. The various clans joined forces to besiege the Dragon Clan experts on the Dragon Clan's mother planet. However, the Dragon Clan experts were very sensitive. During this period, they all disappeared. Obviously, they were all hiding. The Dragon Clan's mother planet was the territory of these Dragon Clan experts. No matter how many people there were, they couldn't find them if they hid. During this period, the experts of the various clans went out and searched everywhere. They only found an 8-clawed divine dragon and a few dragon-human experts. These people were killed one by one. On the other hand, the native dragon-human race was implicated and many of them were killed. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. After a few months, they still couldn't find the 9-clawed dragon and the others. The enthusiasm of the various clans finally died down. They refocused their attention on the relics and cultivation sacred grounds. Just like that, a few more months passed. There was a piece of news. There was a place that was suddenly filled with multicolored light and divine aura. It was extremely mysterious and attracted many people to go there. However, no one could get close to the core area. During this period, more and more people gathered at that place because some people felt that there was a great opportunity there. It's in the Soaring Dragon continent and it's not far from here. Lu Ming's eyes moved. After staying in the Black Dragon Valley for more than half a year, Lu Ming decided to go out. Although he had 3 secret techniques to sever his second shackle, and his battle strength had greatly increased, he had been going deep into the Black Dragon Valley and obtained some divine medicine. However, his cultivation was still at the 2nd level of the Divine Lord realm. He hadn't broken through yet. And he had reached the limit of the Black Dragon Valley. If he wanted to continue, he would have to make a major breakthrough in battle strength. Therefore, staying in the Black Dragon Valley was a waste of time. He had to go out and find other relics and sacred grounds to obtain opportunities. Otherwise, he would be left behind by others. Lu Ming left the Black Dragon Valley and headed north of the Black Dragon Clan. Songlang Lake. That was Lu Ming's destination. The name of this lake was given by an outsider because there was no lake here in the past. It suddenly appeared not long ago. Lu Ming speculated that the Songlang Lake should have been hidden by the Dragon Clan's spatial folding technique. That was why it suddenly appeared. Something that could be hidden by the Dragon Clan's spatial folding technique was definitely extraordinary. Many people also thought of this point. Therefore, during this period of time, the surrounding area of the Songlang Lake all gathered at the Songlang Lake. When Lu Ming arrived, he found an incomparably huge lake. Around the lake, there were constantly flickering figures. Lu Ming looked from afar. In the center of the lake, there was a beam of multicolored light shooting into the sky, illuminating half the sky. That's the island in the middle of the lake. But it's not that easy to go up. Lu Ming pondered. Through the information given by the others in the illusory jade, Lu Ming already had a good understanding of the Songlang Lake. Chapter 36-27. The Blue Waves Lake was very wide. There was a small island in the center of the lake, and the light was coming from that island. However, the entire lake was covered by a large array that could not be broken. It was impossible to fly on this lake, and one could only walk on the water. The longest distance one could fly was no more than 100 meters. If one wanted to reach the island, one could only walk on the water. However, the water in this lake was not to be underestimated. Every drop was extremely heavy, and the closer one was to the island, the stronger the waves were. If they were swept in by the waves, they would definitely die given their Divine Lord cultivation. The closer one was to the island, the stronger the waves were. Thus, no one had reached the island yet. Swoosh! Swoosh! Lu Ming was sizing up the lake when he saw a group of people flying out and landing on the lake. They walked on the water and rushed toward the center of the lake. There were fewer people at the shore of the lake. Let's go and take a look. Lu Ming did not stay any longer. He moved and dashed toward the lake. Why does that kid look so familiar? Not far away, there was a group of people. One of them looked at Lu Ming. In this group, There were 11 creatures with wings on their backs. They were the prodigies of the Winged Men clan. The person who spoke was also from the Winged Men clan. As soon as this person spoke, the others also looked at Lu Ming. It's that kid. The eyes of the Winged Men clan's prodigies were filled with cold murderous intent. Before entering the Dragon clan's mother planet, the Winged Men clan had a deep impression of Lu Ming. At the 19 weak points, Lu Ming had killed many Winged Men clan's prodigies, and was extremely arrogant. All the Winged Men clan's prodigies had a deep impression of Lu Ming, and wanted to cut Lu Ming into pieces. It's that kid from the Dragon clan. That kid actually ran out on his own and dared to come here. He's courting death. The prodigies of the other clans also recognized Lu Ming. Of course, they had seen Lu Ming's appearance in the illusory divine jade, and thought that Lu Ming was a native Dragon clan's mother planet. Many people's eyes shone with a fiery light. The experts of the angel race, soul race, and blood race had announced that anyone who could kill the prodigies on the dragon race's mother planet would be heavily rewarded. Previously, they had been searching for Lu Ming and the others but were unable to find them. Now that Lu Ming had run out on his own, how could they let him go? The sky pride of the Winged Men race was the fastest. With a flap of his wings, he dashed towards Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. That brat is mine. Don't even think about taking it from me. The sky prides of the other races shouted as they charged towards Lu Ming. What bad luck. Lu Ming's face was somewhat gloomy. There were a lot of people around the lake, and people were rushing towards the lake from all directions. He originally thought that no one would notice him so quickly, but he didn't expect to be discovered so quickly. Lu Ming couldn't help but speed up. In the blink of an eye, he rushed into the lake. As soon as he reached the lake, Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on him, causing Lu Ming to fall into the water. Lu Ming circulated his divine power and stabilized himself on the water surface. Just as he was about to run forward, a few extremely fast Winged Men race had already caught up to him. Die, brat! A few Winged Men race members shouted coldly as they flapped their wings. Hundreds of blades swept towards Lu Ming like a storm. You're the ones who will die. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as the Overlord God's spear appeared in his hand and swept it out. A series of explosions rang out as the blades shattered. Lu Ming's long spear shook once again, and a few spear radiances shot out towards the Winged Men race's sky prides. The Winged Men race's sky prides' faces changed. Their bodies spun rapidly as if countless blades were spinning rapidly, slicing through everything. When the spear radiances collided with the Winged Men race, an ear-piercing sound erupted. In the next moment, the Winged Men race's sky prides retreated frantically, their faces pale. However, this delay allowed the other Winged Men race and the other race's sky prides to arrive. Kill! He's mine! The Winged Men race roared. They saw Lu Ming as a delicious steamed bun, a treasure that could be exchanged for rewards. They scrambled to kill Lu Ming. All sorts of attacks emitted dazzling rays of light that enveloped Lu Ming. You're courting death. Lu Ming's face darkened, and his killing intent grew stronger. He didn't want to offend too many races, but these races wanted to kill him the moment they saw him. Lu Ming wasn't someone who was afraid of trouble. Boom. A violent aura erupted as the battle character art was activated. At the same time, the energy of the Overlord God's spear that had severed the shackles was unlocked. Although the primordial divine blood wasn't activated, the Overlord God's spear had severed 2 shackles. The Overlord God's spear swept out, and a crescent-shaped spear radiance burst out. Wherever the crescent-shaped spear radiance passed by, all the attacks were destroyed. Lu Ming stepped on the surface of the water, and his body grew taller. The Overlord God's spear stabbed out continuously. In an instant, 9 spear radiances burst out. They were like stones as they stabbed towards 9 of the Winged Men race. The Winged Men race's sky prides were shocked. They tried their best to block, but they couldn't. The spear radiance flashed and the 9 sky prides were killed, including 5 Winged Men race's sky prides. Kill. After killing the 9 sky prides, Lu Ming didn't hold back. The Overlord God's spear swept out, and another 5 to 6 sky prides were killed. As a result, the other sky prides were scared. They looked terrified and retreated. Kill me if you want to, and leave if you want to. It's not that easy. Since you've made a move, stay. Lu Ming said coldly. He stepped on the surface of the lake and chased after those people. Since he had already taken action and formed a deadly feud, Lu Ming would not show mercy. Lu Ming's body shot out like an arrow. The Overlord God's spear stabbed, pressed and smashed. It was a simple attack, but every attack was powerful and unstoppable. Every attack would kill a Sky Pride. Although these Sky Prides were all third-level Divine Lords, their strength wasn't very strong. Otherwise, they wouldn't have stayed at the island by the lake. Among the various races, those who came in were considered ordinary Sky Prides. There weren't any Sky Prides that were too monstrous. How could they be a match for Lu Ming? All of them were killed. Run! This freak! I'm from the Bien race. How dare you kill me? These people cried for their parents, but it was useless. Not long later, they were all killed. In the distance, other people saw this and their faces changed. No one dared to help. Damn it. The monstrous Sky Prides of our various races are all challenging that island. Otherwise, how could he be so arrogant? That's right. But looking at him, he's going to go to that island later too. He'll meet the monstrous Sky Prides of the various races. At that time, there's only death for him. How greedy. He still dares to come out now. If he hides obediently like a coward, he'll be fine. Now that he wants to snatch the opportunities here, there's only death for him. This kid's combat power isn't weak. If we kill him, the three major races will probably reward us handsomely. Speaking of this, many people revealed greedy looks. Chapter 36-28. After killing the winged men and some other races, Lu Ming scanned his surroundings and snorted coldly. He stepped on the water and headed toward the center of the lake. The pressure on the lake was very high. Although the pressure was reduced a lot by walking on the water, his speed was not fast. A moment later, a small island appeared in front of him. It was very far away and looked hazy. It looked quite tall. Rumble. In front of him, huge waves that were a few hundred meters tall kept rolling and surging out from the inside. Lu Ming saw many figures flashing in front of him. All kinds of divine light burst out as they broke through the waves. Only by passing through the huge waves could they move forward. Lu Ming had seen people discussing it in the illusory divine jade. The closer they were to the island, the stronger the waves here. At the periphery, there might only be one giant wave, but further in there would be 2 giant waves, 3 giant waves, and more. Ah! Suddenly there was a miserable shriek. Lu Ming saw a huge elephant being swept by the huge waves and directly swept into the lake. The huge elephant was extremely terrified and struggled madly. However, it was useless. In the blink of an eye, the flesh and blood on its body disappeared, leaving behind only a skeleton that sank to the bottom of the lake. What a powerful lake! Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. That huge elephant was a third-level Divine Lord. It was not weak, but it was swept by the huge waves and died without any resistance. The others were even more cautious. They used all their strength. Saber light, sword light, and fist energy soared into the sky, breaking through the huge waves and charging forward. Lu Ming did not hesitate and walked on the water. The place Lu Ming had stepped on was very calm. There were no huge waves, but the first huge wave appeared in front of him. Whoosh! A huge wave that was 100 meters tall rushed toward Lu Ming, wanting to sweep Lu Ming into the huge wave. Break! Lu Ming held the Overlord God spear with both hands and pressed it down. A huge spear light that was a few hundred meters long blasted toward the huge wave. Boom! The huge wave roared and exploded from the middle. It blasted open a passage. Lu Ming's figure flashed and rushed through the passage. It's that kid from the Dragon Human clan. It's him. This brat actually dares to come. How dare he? But this brat is really strong. He broke through a huge wave with one move. That passage hasn't closed yet. Let's take the opportunity to rush in and save some energy. Some of the surrounding geniuses recognized Lu Ming at a glance. Then, their figures flashed as they rushed towards the tunnel that Lu Ming had broken open. They wanted to take advantage of him and save energy. Trying to take advantage of me? You're dreaming. Lu Ming sneered. He waved his hand and fired a shot. Crash. The spear light bombarded the huge wave, causing the huge wave to roll and the lake water to splash in all directions. Not good. This bastard is so vicious. Ah. Those who wanted to take advantage of the situation screamed in horror and frantically retreated. However, more than half of them were too late and were swept away by the huge wave and died in the blink of an eye. Although the remaining people managed to avoid a calamity, they were still splashed by the lake water. This kind of lake water was extremely terrifying. Their protective divine power was completely useless and was directly penetrated. Those geniuses had small holes in their bodies and were heavily injured. Damn it. Those people looked at Lu Ming with resentment. Lu Ming smiled and continued forward. Send a message to the people in front. Tell them that this dragon human bastard has arrived, and let them kill him. Good idea. Immediately, someone used the illusory divine jade to send a message to the people in front. After passing through a huge wave, the lake had calmed down a lot. However, looking forward, 100 miles away, there were still huge waves surging to the sky. There were 2 huge waves. Many geniuses were breaking through the waves. Lu Ming stepped forward. However, after walking for dozens of miles, he saw a group of people leaping over. There were at least 30 of them. They walked on the water and formed a fan shape as they surrounded Lu Ming. It seems that the people behind me have spread the news. Lu Ming's expression was somewhat gloomy. Soon, more than 30 geniuses approached. Lu Ming looked over and saw that these geniuses came from 7 or 8 different races. Almost all of them were powerful races on the primitive desolate 10,000 races list. Among them, there were 2 geniuses from the winged men race. The 2 winged men race did not point out that Lu Ming was an outsider. They just coldly looked at Lu Ming. It really is this kid. This dragon human brat actually dares to come here. Haha, capture him and you will be heavily rewarded. Dozens of geniuses looked at Lu Ming with fiery eyes. I'll give you a chance. If you turn around and leave now, you can live. If you want to attack me, be prepared to be killed. Lu Ming said coldly. Haha, we have so many people. Who can you kill? Ridiculous. Attack. How could these people retreat just because of Lu Ming's words? With a roar, they stepped on the surface of the lake and charged toward Lu Ming. Some of them were very strong. For example, the 2 winged men race geniuses were definitely not weaker than the red-haired youth from the fire centipede race. Lightning, flame, ice. All kinds of terrifying attacks swept toward Lu Ming. If an ordinary person was besieged by so many people, they would have been beaten to a pulp in an instant. However, Lu Ming was not an ordinary person. I gave you a chance, but you just had to court death. Lu Ming roared. Spear radiance shot up into the sky and then pressed down. Boom. Under the pressure of the spear radiance, everyone's attacks directly collapsed. The few geniuses who were in front of the spear radiance were pressed down by it. They screamed and their bodies exploded. The rest of the people's faces changed slightly. However, they did not retreat. In a flash, they attacked Lu Ming from 4 directions. Especially the 2 winged men race. They attacked Lu Ming from different directions at an alarming speed. The 2 winged men race were from the thunderous winged man race and the golden winged man race. The thunderous winged man race held a lightning spear in his hand and stabbed it toward Lu Ming's glabella at an alarming speed. As for the golden winged man race, thousands of sword radiances appeared around him and stabbed toward Lu Ming. With the 2 winged men race and the other people's attacks, it was a sure kill attack. I'll kill you first. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. With a roar, he threw out a punch. With this punch, more than 109 clawed dragons immediately rushed out. Divine Dragon Aspect Art. More than 109 clawed dragons blocked these attacks. Lu Ming moved and rushed toward the golden winged man race. The golden winged man race's face changed. He wanted to retreat, but Lu Ming was faster than him. In a blink of an eye, he caught up with him and became one with his spear. He turned into a dazzling spear radiance and stabbed toward the golden winged man race. Not good. The golden winged man race's face changed. He felt a fatal threat from this spear. The golden feathers all over his body flew out and gathered together to form a golden feather shield in front of him. However, Lu Ming's current strength was too strong for him to block. The spear radiance pierced through and the golden feather shield exploded. The spear radiance flashed and the golden winged man race's body stiffened. His glabella was pierced by the spear radiance, and his body fell into the lake. Chapter 36-29. Given Lu Ming's current ability, he could kill anyone who was one level higher than him, unless they were extremely monstrous. Even if they were like the red-haired youth from the Fire Centipede clan, there was no suspense at all. After killing the golden-winged man, Lu Ming did not stop. He swung the Overlord spear, and it flew towards the thunder-winged man like a bolt of lightning. It was unstoppable and unstoppable. The Overlord spear broke through all the attacks and defenses of the thunder-winged man, and pierced through him. How is this possible? The thunder-winged man's eyes were filled with disbelief. Lu Ming's cultivation was only a second-level divine lord, one level lower than him. With his strength, he was killed by Lu Ming. How was this possible? There were not many in the entire universe who had such combat strength, unless it was those freaks on the universe prodigy list. Could it be that this dragon human race native's talent was comparable to those freaks on the universe prodigy list? He found it hard to believe, but in the next moment, his vision turned black and he fell into the lake. Let's go. Retreat. Seeing Lu Ming kill two freaks from the winged man race in an instant, the others were scared. They broke out in cold sweat and frantically retreated, no longer daring to attack Lu Ming. Kill. Lu Ming shouted coldly, grabbed the Overlord spear, and chased after them. He killed a few more before the others retreated. Lu Ming stepped forward and soon arrived in front of the huge wave. The nearby prodigies who were charging through the huge wave were shocked when they saw Lu Ming. They had seen Lu Ming kill the winged man race's prodigies from dozens of miles away. They knew that Lu Ming's combat strength was not something they could fight against. In an instant, everyone in the area retreated, not daring to get close to Lu Ming. Rumble. Two huge waves came crashing towards Lu Ming with shocking power. Lu Ming's expression did not change. The Overlord spear became a few thousand meters long and pressed down. The huge wave was split open, creating a path. This scene made the surrounding people even more shocked. They had worked so hard but still found it difficult to break through two giant waves. However, Lu Ming had broken through them with just a casual strike. This level of power was truly shocking. It far surpassed them. Lu Ming was expressionless. He stepped forward and passed through the two huge waves. What should we do? Are we just going to watch this dragon-human aboriginal act so arrogantly? That's right. There are so many of us here, yet we can't do anything to him. If news of this gets out, it'll be embarrassing. After Lu Ming left, those people discussed animatedly. This brat's combat strength is indeed abnormally strong. With our strength, we're definitely not his opponent. However, he's not invincible. This brat keeps moving forward. In front of him, there are many top experts from various races. A young man said, "That's right. Let's send a message to the people at the front. Let the group of heavenly geniuses at the front to attack this brat. There are fourth-level divine lords at the front, as well as some terrifying monsters. The Wu people, the winged race, and the other races ranked in the top 200. All have quite a few people at the front. All right, send the message." Immediately, these people used the illusory divine jade to send out the message. After Lu Ming passed through the two huge waves, there was another area in front of him that was calm. Of course, there were huge waves 100 miles ahead. One could see from afar that there were 3 huge waves. Each wave was higher than the previous one. There were also many heavenly geniuses breaking through the waves. To reach that small island, one had to break through layer after layer of huge waves. Up until now, no one had broken through all the huge waves and rushed to that small island. Lu Ming stepped forward and soon arrived in front of the huge waves. As soon as Lu Ming arrived, many eyes filled with killing intent looked at Lu Ming. Their eyes were like sharp swords, as if they wanted to penetrate Lu Ming's body. However, no one made a move. No one made a move. It seems like they received the voice transmission from those people before, and don't dare to make a move on me. Do they want to let me in, and let the experts in front kill me? A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind, and he guessed the other party's plan. However, Lu Ming was fearless. Now, he already had 3 kinds of origin secret arts to sever the second shackle, adding in second-level divine lord cultivation, 7 drops of primordial divine blood, With so many means added together, even Lu Ming himself could not figure out how strong he was when he unleashed his full power. No matter how monstrous the other party was, as long as their cultivation did not exceed his by too much, he was confident that even if he was not a match, he could still escape. Break! Lu Ming roared, brandishing the Overlord God Spear, bombarding the three huge waves. When the three huge waves converged, the offensive power was indeed very shocking. It was much stronger than the two huge waves. However, it still could not stop Lu Ming. The Overlord God Spear pressed down and broke through the huge waves. Lu Ming rushed through. Very soon, Lu Ming arrived in front of the four huge waves. There were also many heavenly geniuses here. After seeing Lu Ming, they still did not make a move. They just looked at Lu Ming coldly. Some people's eyes contained burning flames. Lu Ming did not stop, and continued to break through the huge waves and advance. In front of him was the five huge waves. Still no one made a move. After that, there were 6 huge waves. Still no one made a move. After breaking through the 6 huge waves, there was still a calm lake in front of him. 100 miles away, the huge waves surged to the sky. This time there were 7 huge waves. In front of the 7 huge waves, there were a dozen figures scattered in different directions. Looks like I'll have to make a move here, Lu Ming muttered as he stepped forward. As expected, when Lu Ming arrived in front of the huge waves, a dozen sharp gazes swept over Lu Ming. Then with a flash, a dozen people moved at the same time, surrounding Lu Ming. A Wu people and a winged clan. Lu Ming looked around, and found that there were Wu people and winged clan. It was really a small world. This brat is finally here. Let's deal with him here. Do we need so many people to deal with this brat? These people discussed secretly. They looked at Lu Ming as if they were looking at a dead man. This person has a great feud with the winged clan. I've received news that he has killed many of our prodigies. Leave him to me, the winged clan prodigy said coldly. This winged clan prodigy was also a golden winged clan prodigy. His entire body was golden, and even his eyes were golden. The golden winged clan was the royal clan of the winged clan. They were very powerful. He stepped forward, and a terrifying aura spread out from his body. Although he was also a third-level divine lord, the pressure he gave off was very great. Those who were able to make it this far and break through the 6 waves were all top-notch geniuses, geniuses among geniuses, and experts among experts. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Even he felt a trace of pressure. Kill! The golden winged clan prodigy suddenly shouted. He flew towards Lu Ming like a golden winged rock. His golden wings were like 2 divine blades, slashing towards Lu Ming's neck. After activating the battle character art, the Tyrant God Spear swept out. Boom! The Tyrant God Spear and the golden winged clan prodigy's wings collided, and a violent explosion erupted. The golden winged clan prodigy retreated, and the Tyrant God Spear vibrated nonstop. Lu Ming also retreated more than 10 steps. Chapter 36:30. Severed the second shackle. Lu Ming muttered to himself. This golden-winged man was not to be underestimated. Lu Ming was able to determine his strength as soon as they exchanged blows. The golden-winged man had awakened his divine origin power factor 5 times, and severed the second shackle of his origin secret technique. Apart from Ao Guan, this was the most powerful prodigy that Lu Ming had seen so far. Indeed, he could not underestimate these powerful races. The stronger the race, the stronger the bloodline talent. In other words, they were closer to the primordial god spirit. Therefore, it was easier for these races to comprehend the primordial god power factor and cultivate the primordial god spirit secret technique. This was the power of their bloodline talents. Your origin secret technique has also severed the second shackle? The golden-winged man growled in disbelief. Kill! Lu Ming could not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. He waved the Overlord God Spear and charged forward. Don't think that you can fight me. Kill! The golden-winged man roared and charged towards Lu Ming. Golden divine light danced in the sky, and turned into a dazzling golden divine sword that slashed towards Lu Ming. Clang! Clang! The two clashed continuously. After exchanging more than 10 blows, Lu Ming had completely gained the upper hand, and forced the golden-winged man to retreat. "Brother E, let me help you." At this moment, a hoarse voice could be heard, following which, clanging sounds could be heard. A gush of powerful and strange energy charged toward Lu Ming's soul. Wu people. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. This Wu people's strength was also very shocking. He was probably a prodigy that was on par with the golden-winged man. His soul attack was even more terrifying. If it were anyone else, they would definitely be greatly affected or even have their soul torn apart. However, Lu Ming was already prepared. When he heard the sound, Lu Ming's heart stirred and the heavenly evildoer bell appeared ringing. It was also a soul attack. It blocked the Wu people's soul attack. What? The second origin secret technique has also severed 2 shackles? The Wu people's prodigy's expression changed drastically. The expressions of the others also became very unsightly. They all came from powerful races, and they were all the prodigies of their races. They knew just how difficult it was to sever the second shackle of a secret technique. They relied on their powerful talents and vast amounts of resources to be able to achieve this at this age and at this realm. On the other hand, Lu Ming not only had many secret origin techniques, but also 2 of them had severed 2 shackles. This was quite astonishing. This person is a monster. I suggest that we attack together and take him down. The heavenly son of Wu people said gloomily. All right, let's attack together. I agree. The others nodded in agreement. However, just as the few of them were conversing, Lu Ming was already slaughtering the golden-winged race. Ring ring ring. The heavenly evildoer bell rang, and a soul attack surged toward the golden-winged men. Although the golden-winged men had powerful soul defensive treasures, the heavenly evildoer bell had severed its shackles twice. Its power had become extremely terrifying. The golden-winged men were still affected and their bodies trembled slightly. Boom. The tyrant god's spear swept out and hit the golden-winged man. His body shook violently and he was sent flying, blood spurting out of his mouth. Kill. Lu Ming stepped forward. The primordial divine blood in his body was stimulated. His entire body seemed to have turned into a long spear as he charged toward the golden-winged man. Save me. The golden-winged man's face changed drastically. He felt a fatal threat from Lu Ming's spear. Attack! The heavenly son of Wu people and the others roared and attacked. However, it was too late. The spear rushed past and pierced through the golden-winged man's body, killing him instantly. Following that, Lu Ming stepped forward and rushed forward to avoid the attacks. You want to leave? Stop right there. A young lady screamed and waved her hands. Suddenly, a dozen vines rushed out from the lake under Lu Ming's feet. These vines were each as thick as an arm and had barbs on them. They wrapped around Lu Ming. Plant race. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. That lady was clearly a plant race. Plant races were very famous in the desolate universe. Some of them were very powerful. For example, this lady could make attacks rush out of the lake. One had to know that the lake water here wasn't ordinary. Lu Ming was careless and almost got entangled by the vines. The tyrant divine spear swept out and bombarded the vines. However, the vines shook and didn't explode. How tough! Lu Ming's heart stirred. His attack just now was powerful, but it didn't break these vines. It was clear how tough these vines were. Those who could reach this place couldn't be underestimated. Each one of them was shockingly strong. You won't be able to break through my vines. Just give up. The lady shouted. Her hair wasn't ordinary hair. It was also made of vines that looked like small snakes. They were constantly twisting and turning. It was extremely strange. Is that so? Lu Ming's expression didn't change. With a thought, the sun appeared. The nemesis of plant life was fire. The sun was full of yang energy and could definitely restrain plant life. Sure enough, as soon as the sun appeared, raging flames spread out toward the vines. Oh no! The lady screamed. The vines were enveloped by the flames and burned fiercely. Lu Ming swept out with his spear again, and the vines exploded. Ding-ling-ling! The heavenly evildoer bell rang. A soul attack spread out and rushed toward the sky prides. However, the Wu people's sky pride struck the stone bell in his hand, and also released a soul attack. It cancelled out the heavenly evildoer bell's soul attack. I'll block his soul attack. Don't worry and attack. The Wu people's sky prides shouted, "Okay, kill. Kill him." The remaining dozen sky prides shouted and attacked. These people's strength was extremely shocking. They weren't weaker than the gold-winged man from before. Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming roared and his strength erupted to the extreme. Now that he had activated the primordial divine blood, his strength was shocking and had reached the peak. In an instant, Lu Ming stabbed out more than a dozen spear lights and collided with the sky prides. More than a dozen terrifying explosions sounded, and more than a dozen sky prides retreated. However, there were two young men who only swayed slightly but didn't retreat. As for Lu Ming, he retreated rapidly and stepped on the surface of the lake. He was almost blasted into the lake. 4th level Divine Lord Realm. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly and revealed a solemn look. The two sky prides who didn't retreat were already 4th level Divine Lords. These two sky prides hadn't used their full strength previously, and pretended to be 3rd level Divine Lords. At this moment, they suddenly attacked and wanted to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. Therefore, at this moment, the two of them were also very surprised. Lu Ming's combat strength was beyond their imagination. Chapter 36-31. The two 4th level Divine Lord geniuses were also quite surprised. They had kept a low profile previously and did not display outstanding strength. They wanted to suddenly erupt and kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. They did not expect that under the siege of so many people, they would suddenly erupt and be blocked by Lu Ming. Amazing! A burly, dark-skinned young man exclaimed. The muscles all over his body bulged, filled with explosive power. This kid is too shocking. We have to get rid of him. The two of us will be the main attackers. You guys support from the side. The other 4th level Divine Lord youth wore a black robe and had a cold expression. When he looked at Lu Ming, he was full of seriousness. Don't worry. Attack as much as you want. I will block his soul attack. The Wu people youth held a stone bell in his hand and stared coldly at Lu Ming. Attack! The black-robed youth said coldly. His figure swayed and rushed toward Lu Ming like a gust of wind. Swoosh! His arm turned into a saber and slashed out. Demonic chi soared into the sky. Blade Demon Race. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. The Blade Demon Race was also a large race on the Primeval Universe's 10,000 races list. Moreover, it was ranked very high and had powerful talent. Boom! At the same time, the burly man also attacked. He stepped on the lake water like a cannonball. Every step crossed 100 meters as he rushed toward Lu Ming. Bind! The woman with the plant life form pressed her hands on the surface of the lake. A few vines appeared from the lake under Lu Ming's feet and wrapped around him. This attack method was very shocking. It seemed to ignore the distance between them, and directly rushed out from under Lu Ming's feet. Lu Ming controlled the sun and suspended it around him, emitting thousands of rays of light. When the vines touched the rays of light, they burned fiercely. At the same time, the tyrant god spear shook and stabbed out two spear lights at the black-robed youth and the burly youth. Break for me! The burly youth roared. With a mace in his hand, he jumped up and smashed down with all his strength. The air exploded and the power was extremely shocking. The mace bore the brunt of the attack and collided with the spear light. At the same time, another spear light collided with the black-robed youth's saber light. Two huge explosions rang out, and a terrifying force swept out in all directions, stirring up the lake water below to a height of 30 meters. Whoosh! 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 Both sides were slightly shaken. Lu Ming's figure swayed, and he took 3 steps back. However, the burly young man and the black-robed young man retreated more than a dozen steps. Even with the two of them working together, they were still at a disadvantage. Kill! The other experts also made their moves. All kinds of attacks blasted towards Lu Ming. The burly young man and the black-robed young man retreated. They stepped on the surface of the lake and charged toward Lu Ming. One terrifying attack after another enveloped Lu Ming. Each of these attacks was shockingly powerful. Lu Ming could not ignore them. If he was hit, even with his defensive power, his defenses would be broken. Wind Extinguishing Boots. Lu Ming cast the Wind Destroyer boots and integrated them with his feet. His speed increased tremendously. He ran on the surface of the lake like a phantom, dodging the attacks one by one. Although he was greatly restricted on the lake surface, and the power of the wind-extinguishing boots could not be fully unleashed, Lu Ming's speed increased sharply, and he was not so passive. However, there were more than a dozen people on the other side, and they were all monsters among monsters. They quickly formed a formation and attacked Lu Ming from all directions. At the same time, the black-robed youth and the burly young man were the main attackers, and they engaged in close combat with Lu Ming. To be honest, the black-robed youth and the burly young man were really strong. These two people were also monsters among monsters. If their cultivation was at the 3rd level of the Divine Lord realm, they would definitely not be weaker than the golden-winged man from before. There were not many of these monsters, even in the various large clans. In the entire primitive universe, their talents were top-notch. Although Lu Ming was powerful, especially during this period of time, he had made great progress in all aspects. However, when he encountered such a demon, he did not have a great advantage. For a moment, Lu Ming could not do anything to them. The two sides exchanged dozens of blows, but there was no clear winner. If I want to win, I have to get rid of that guy from the Wu people first. Lu Ming glanced at the Wu people young man. The Wu people young man had offset the attack of his Bell of Evil. As long as he got rid of this Wu people young man, his soul attack would be effective on the others. In this way, he would have the upper hand. The two sides exchanged a few more blows. Suddenly, Lu Ming's figure moved and he dashed in a certain direction. Of course, this was not the direction of the Wu people young man. Lu Ming was using a diversion tactic. As expected, those people were fooled. He wants to break out. Stop him. The burly young man roared, waving his mace and chasing after Lu Ming. The black-robed youth and several other youths also chased after Lu Ming, wanting to surround Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming suddenly turned around and used the wind-extinguishing boots to dodge the black-robed youth and the others. He charged at the Wu people young man. Oh no, his target is the witch medicine. The black-robed youth reacted the fastest. His expression changed, and he turned around to chase after Lu Ming. However, he was still too slow. The Wu people young man's expression changed. He waved his hand, and a large number of puppets appeared and charged at Lu Ming. At the same time, his hands moved, and there seemed to be countless fluorescent lights spreading out from his hands. These were goo worms. They were very small and dense, and they charged at Lu Ming. Suppress. Lu Ming said coldly. The God's Gate flew out and floated in the air, suppressing heaven and earth. Lu Ming's body was covered in resplendent light as he pushed his divine power to the limit. The Tyrant God's spear in his hand continued to spin. Lu Ming gripped the Tyrant God's spear in the middle and made it spin, bringing with it a berserk energy that seemed to be able to cut through everything. Lu Ming charged past, and the puppets and goo worms instantly turned to dust. Not good. The Wu people young man wanted to retreat and flee, but he found that his speed was far slower than Lu Ming's. Lu Ming flashed a few times and caught up to the Wu people young man, crushing him with the Tyrant God spear. The young man from the sorcerer tribe quickly summoned a scarecrow substitute and tried to escape. However, he realized in despair that there was a terrifying suction force acting on the area, enveloping the entire area within it. His scarecrow substitute couldn't be used at all. This time, he was really scared out of his wits. Save me! Save me! The young man from the sorcerer tribe screamed hysterically. He was so frightened that his face was contorted. However, even if the others wanted to save him, how could they make it in time? Boom! The Tyrant God spear crushed down, and the Wu people young man screamed as his body exploded. His body and soul were destroyed. Come on! Lu Ming turned around and looked at the black-robed youth and the others who were rushing over with a cold smile. Ding-ling-ling! The heavenly evildoer bell kept ringing, forming invisible sound waves that spread out and enveloped the black-robed youth and the others. Chapter 36-32. The Bell of Evil's soul attack caused the black-robed youth and the others to tremble slightly. Their souls felt a sharp pain. The Bell of Evil had severed 2 shackles. Even if they had soul protection treasures, they could not completely block it. When their souls were attacked, their divine power would not be able to circulate smoothly. Naturally, their strength would be affected. Whoosh! Lu Ming rushed over and swept his spear towards the black-robed youth. The black-robed youth roared and slashed out with both his hands like knives. However, he was still affected. His combat strength was not at its peak. When he collided with the overbearing god's spear, his body shook violently and he was forced to retreat. Boom. Then Lu Ming struck out with his spear again. This time, his spear was aimed at the burly youth. The burly youth followed in the footsteps of the black-robed youth and was forced to retreat. Lu Ming sent the two strongest people flying with one strike each. Then he continued to kill the rest of the people. Not good. Retreat. The other Sky Prides were shocked and retreated frantically. However, Lu Ming was now wearing the wind-extinguishing boots. How could their speed be as fast as Lu Ming's? He caught up with a black bull in a few steps and struck out with his overbearing god's spear. This black bull was very powerful and was not weaker than the golden-winged man earlier. However, at this moment, Lu Ming had unleashed his full combat power. He could not resist at all. When the spear landed, all of Black Bull's attacks and defenses were in vain. His body directly exploded. Then the overbearing god's spear was thrown out. It turned into a flash of lightning and caught up with a vine. This vine was the plant life form woman from before. She had transformed into her true form. The vines were like legs as she ran wildly on the surface of the lake. However, the tyrant god's spear rushed past and directly pierced through the vine's body. She let out an unwilling scream as her body exploded into vines that fell into the lake and disappeared. Lu Ming had killed 3 Sky Prides in a row. The remaining Sky Prides were scared out of their wits. Let's retreat first. The black-robed youth roared indignantly. He knew that without the masters of the Wu people holding back Lu Ming, they could no longer deal with Lu Ming. Only he and the burly young man could withstand Lu Ming's attacks in a head-on confrontation. The others could only be insta-killed by Lu Ming. A second-level Divine Lord person's combat strength was powerful to such an extent. It seriously made them alarmed. The black-robed young man spoke, and the others retreated madly, fleeing madly. I'll spare your lives this time. Lu Ming snorted coldly, but did not pursue. He had a plan in mind, so he did not plan to kill all of them. Soon, the black-robed young man and the others disappeared. Boom. Lu Ming turned around and charged towards the 7-layered giant waves. The power of the 7-layered giant waves was very shocking. It was much stronger than the 6-layered giant waves. However, in the end, it still couldn't stop Lu Ming. Lu Ming rushed over. After the 7th wave came the 8th wave. Apart from Lu Ming, there was no one else. It's the last wave. Lu Ming was slightly taken aback, because one could tell from the distance that this was the last wave. Passing through this wave would be that small island behind. Rumble. When Lu Ming approached, the 8-layered giant waves rushed towards Lu Ming frenziedly. Raging waves. The power was incomparably terrifying. Roar. Lu Ming let out a dragon roar. His body started transforming rapidly, turning into a divine dragon. The form of the primordial divine dragon. This was the primordial divine body. The tyrant god spear turned into a beam of light, flying into the dragon horn of the primordial divine dragon, fusing together with the dragon horn. Lu Ming gave a loud cry and rushed towards the 8-layered giant waves. The dragon horn shone, dragon claws stepping on the air, the giant waves exploding continuously. Very soon, a gap was opened up by Lu Ming. Lu Ming rushed through. 8-layered giant waves cleared. Huff. Huff. Lu Ming breathed heavily. The 8-layered giant waves were not that easy to pass. Just now Lu Ming had used almost all of his strength to barely pass through. After the 8-layered giant waves, everything was calm. A small island stood there quietly. The center of the island was emitting a dazzling light. Divine power was constantly pouring into the measure character formula, replenishing the divine power that Lu Ming had just consumed. This allowed Lu Ming to maintain his peak state. What is here? Lu Ming showed curiosity and anticipation as he rushed towards the island. There was nothing special on the island. There were some plants growing very densely. Hey, divine herbs! Suddenly Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a divine herb that was extremely rich in life energy. Lu Ming did not hesitate to pluck it and put it away. Then he started to wander around. This island was incomparably rich in divine energy, just like the Black Dragon Valley. After a while, Lu Ming found dozens of divine herbs and 6 Genesis grasses. This was a great harvest. In the end, Lu Ming came to the center of the island. The rays of light were emitted from the center of the island. As soon as he came to the center of the island, he saw a pool of water. The pool water was blood red, and there seemed to be small dragons swimming in it. A powerful dragon aura spread out from his body. This is a dragon pool? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Legend had it that the dragon race's mother planet would give birth to a dragon pool. For the dragon race, cultivating in it would be very beneficial. However, in the battle dozens of stellar years ago, many dragon pools were either destroyed or hidden. He did not expect to see one here. It is indeed an opportunity. Lu Ming smiled. The water in the dragon pool was extremely rich in energy. If he could absorb and refine it, it would be very beneficial. Without hesitation, Lu Ming jumped down into the pool water and then activated his cultivation technique. Immediately, the water in the pool seemed to be boiling. Dragon roars could be heard. Following which, waves of energy transformed into tiny divine dragons and entered Lu Ming's pores. Moreover, as soon as these small dragons drilled into his pores, they rushed into Lu Ming's blood vessels and rushed toward his heart. In his heart, the 7 drops of primordial divine blood suddenly wriggled and turned into 7 divine dragons. They opened their mouths and swallowed these small dragons. Not long after, a new drop of primordial divine blood appeared. When this drop of primordial divine blood appeared, it was still very small. However, as energy was injected into it, it slowly grew. The water in the dragon pool can be transformed into primordial divine blood? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The more primordial divine blood he had, the stronger his combat power would be. No, it's not good to transform so much of the pool water into primordial divine blood. It's better to leave some for cultivation. With this thought, Lu Ming closed his eyes and activated the universe myriad Dao technique to compete with the primordial divine blood for energy and transform it into divine power. Time flew by quickly as Lu Ming cultivated. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. However, outside there was an uproar. Someone sent the video of the battle between Lu Ming and the black-robed youth to the illusory sacred jade, causing an uproar. Lu Ming's combat power was unexpectedly strong. He could counterattack and kill several geniuses under the siege of so many experts. Chapter 36-33. Especially the clans behind the slain Sky Prides. They were all furious, especially the Wu people and the Winged Men clan. A terrifying existence of the Winged Men clan even personally issued an order in the illusory heavenly jade, summoning all the Sky Prides of the Winged Men clan on the Dragon clan's mother planet to gather at the Tsonglang Lake. They must kill Lu Ming. For a time, all the Sky Prides of the Winged Men clan on the Dragon clan's mother planet gathered at the Tsonglang Lake. Not long after, someone spread the news that the golden winged man killed by Lu Ming was the son of a big shot in the Winged Men clan. The higher the cultivation, the harder it was to have children. Because the level of life was too high, it was very difficult to have children. That big shot from the Winged Men clan was already quite old. It was not easy for him to have a son. Naturally, he doted on him in every possible way. He sent him to the Dragon clan's mother planet with the intention of nurturing him well, not to send him to his death. Therefore, when the big shot of the Winged Men clan saw his son killed, he was furious and his killing intent shook the void. There were also rumors that the big shot of the Winged Men clan had already rushed over from the Winged Men clan's headquarters to the Dragon clan's mother planet. He also spread the news that he would reward whoever could kill Lu Ming with great treasures. For a time, the public area of the illusory heavenly jade was full of discussions about Lu Ming. Then, the Sky Prides of various clans on the Soaring Dragon continent gathered at the Tsonglang Lake. Half a month later, the number of people at the Tsonglang Lake increased by at least 10 times. There were more than 2 groups of people from the Winged Men clan. There were more than 100 people from the Wu people. There were the Heavenly Bull clan, the Black Horse clan, the Sky clan, the Flowerless clan, and so on. They were all famous clans on the list of 10,000 clans. Each clan had more than 100 Sky Prides. There are huge waves blocking the way at the Tsonglang Lake. How can we rush in and kill Lu Ming? That kid has probably rushed to the deepest part of the Tsonglang Lake and obtained the opportunity there. He is already strong. Will he become stronger now? Will he be more difficult to deal with? Someone spoke with a grave expression. After all, back then, more than a dozen facing top heaven's prides, there were even 2 4th-level Divine Lord monsters among them. So many people joining hands and could not do anything to Lu Ming. Instead, they had several people killed by Lu Ming consecutively. Some people were also unsure. Look at how timid you are. How many people do we have here? Even if I spit a mouthful of saliva, I can also drown him to death. Furthermore, I discovered that many terrifying monsters have come. Terrifying monsters at the 4th-level Divine Lord realm. There are no less than 10. There are even people who already broke through to the 5th-level Divine Lord realm. What? Someone already reached 5th-level Divine Lord? Of course. There are many opportunities in the dragon race's mother planet. It's normal for some terrifying monsters to obtain some top-notch opportunities and improve their cultivation by leaps and bounds. This made many people green with envy. They entered the dragon clan's home planet. Just how long had it been? And someone already broke through to 5th-level Divine Lord. When they entered, the highest was just 3rd-level Divine Lord. Such a short time. Entering 5th-level Divine Lord, this kind of improvement speed truly made people envious. It's not difficult to break through the giant waves. As long as we form a battle formation and everyone works together, it won't be difficult to break through. A winged race prodigy said. This winged race prodigy looked very strange. Half of his body was golden yellow, and the other half was silver white. He was called Winged God. Those who knew Winged God all had somewhat solemn expressions. Among the winged race prodigies who entered this time, this person was the leader. He was a very terrifying existence. It was said that this person's bloodline had mutated. It was said that he was the son of a golden winged race prodigy and an angel. His strength was shockingly powerful. That's right. Moreover, after breaking through the giant waves, we can still form a battle formation and kill Lu Ming. No matter how strong Lu Ming is, there's only death for him. A young man from the Wu people said coldly. The expressions of the people from the Wu people were very ugly. Several hundred of them entered, but now, there were not many people left. At least 100 people could not be contacted. If they could not contact them, naturally they were doomed. Of course, they did not know that over 100 people had been killed by Lu Ming and Ao Guan in the Evil Soul Valley. If they knew, their desire to kill Lu Ming would probably be even stronger. In that case, let's break through the giant waves with each race as a unit. Let's do that. The voices continued to be heard. The people of different races began to gather and form different battle formations. After forming the battle formations, the power of these people could be gathered and twisted into a force, and their strength would increase exponentially. Attack! At least 100 races formed battle formations and rushed toward the center of the surging waves lake. The different battle formations turned into powerful attacks and attacked the giant waves. The first giant wave exploded. These people rushed through without any resistance. Then there were 2 giant waves. The battle formations formed by these people were too powerful. The giant waves could not be stopped at all. Moreover, there were terrifying monsters in each race. For example, the fire centipede race was only ranked 10,000 on the primordial 10,000 races list. The strongest among them, the red-haired young man, was not weak. The strongest sky prides of the other races were naturally stronger. 2 giant waves, 3 giant waves for giant waves. They could not be stopped. Even the 7 giant waves at the back were the same. Only the 8 giant waves at the back had some effect on these people. A few races could not pass through the 8 giant waves even after forming battle formations. However, there were still more than 100 races who formed battle formations and rushed through the giant waves. Once they rushed through the giant waves, they flew toward the small island and surrounded it. Are they finally here? In the Dragon Lake, Lu Ming opened his eyes and soared into the sky, standing high in the sky. On this small island, the suppression seemed to have disappeared. One could fly in the air. Only on the lake water would one be suppressed. It's that kid from the dragon human race. He is indeed here. The light here is dim. He has taken all the opportunities. As soon as Lu Ming appeared, the people of the various races rushed toward Lu Ming. There were people on all sides of the small island, and they surrounded Lu Ming. That's right. After half a month of absorption and refinement, the lake water in the Dragon Lake had been completely absorbed and refined by Lu Ming. This time, Lu Ming had gained a lot. Most of the energy in the Dragon Lake had been converted into primordial divine blood. This time, Lu Ming had condensed a total of 11 drops of primordial divine blood. In addition to the 7 drops from before, Lu Ming had a total of 18 drops of primordial divine blood in his body. Lu Ming was not sure how powerful the 18 drops of primordial divine blood were when activated together. In addition, although most of the energy had been converted into primordial divine blood, a small portion was absorbed by Lu Ming and turned into divine power. This allowed Lu Ming's cultivation to have another breakthrough. He reached the 3rd level Divine Lord realm in one go. With 11 more drops of primordial divine blood, and a breakthrough to the 3rd level Divine Lord realm, Lu Ming's combat strength had undoubtedly risen to a terrifying level. Chapter 36-34. How lively. Lu Ming looked around and smiled faintly. He was not nervous at all. Kid, let's see how you'll die this time. A winged men prodigy shouted coldly with a ferocious look in his eyes. See how I'll die? Do you think the winged men can kill me? I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Lu Ming said with a hint of disdain in his voice. There are so many of us here. Killing you will be a piece of cake. The winged men prodigy sneered. So many of you want to kill me? Lu Ming pretended to be surprised. He looked around and said, if I remember correctly, I don't have any grudges with most of the people here. Why should they kill me? Kid, you're a native. How dare you be so arrogant and kill so many of our people? Some big shots have already ordered to kill you. Your fate is sealed. A young man from another race said. Ha ha. Lu Ming suddenly burst into laughter. Everyone was baffled by his laughter. Kid, what are you laughing at? Someone asked coldly. You're here to kill me for the rewards from the angels, the soul race, and the blood race, right? Lu Ming said loudly. Many people's eyes flashed with doubt. Someone asked, how do you know about this? The content was all mentioned in the illusory divine jade. How did a native know about it? It's simple. I'm not a native of the dragon race's mother planet. I'm a human from the outside. I also have the illusory divine jade. Of course I know. Lu Ming said. What? Many people couldn't help but widen their eyes in shock. Lu Ming was not a native, but an outsider like them? How was that possible? Didn't they say that Lu Ming was a native? Don't listen to his nonsense. If he wants to quibble, kill him first. The winged god from the winged men shouted coldly. If I'm not a native, you won't get any rewards even if you kill me. Lu Ming said loudly. Sure enough, many people hesitated and did not make a move. And you winged men clearly know me. You've seen me outside the dragon race's mother planet, but you didn't say anything. Instead, you slandered me by saying that I'm a native of the dragon race's mother planet. You're the ones with ulterior motives. Lu Ming shouted. As soon as he said this, many people's expressions changed. Some of them looked at the winged men in confusion. That was right, Lu Ming's identity. There were 100 clans present. Among these clans, there were some very powerful experts. If these people were to form a combat formation and join forces with so many people, even if Lu Ming had a major breakthrough, it would be very dangerous. He might perish here. Furthermore, Lu Ming did not want to offend so many clans at the same time. The best way. Why did these races want to kill him? They had no enmity with him. They were only after the rewards from the 3 races. However, if he was not a local, then there would be no reward for killing him. Therefore, as long as he revealed his identity, most of the races here would not attack him. Why would they offend a demon like Lu Ming if they had no enmity with him? Nonsense. Don't listen to his quibbling. It's not the winged men who said you're a native. It was the fire centipede race who said so. Moreover, we heard that you're very close to the dragon human race. The winged god shouted. Then let me answer you. Firstly, I'm very close to the local dragonborn because I want to make use of them to help me search for treasures. Everyone does this. Previously, the Fire Centipede clan wanted to snatch the ruins that I occupied, so I fought with them. Therefore, it's normal for them to frame me. For example, I have a grudge with the Winged clan outside, so you guys framed me. Lu Ming answered. His expression remained calm. You're still quibbling. You're clearly a dragon human race. You have the aura of a divine dragon. When you fight, you have dragon scales on your body. A Winged man's supreme talent shouted. You have the aura of a divine dragon and dragon scales on your body when you fight. You're a dragon human race? Don't you know about the primordial divine body? The primordial divine body that I cultivate is related to dragons. Lu Ming explained calmly. Many people nodded. That was indeed the case. Dozens of stellar years ago, the divine dragon race was too powerful. Divine dragons could be found all over the universe. There were even legends of divine dragons in many small worlds. Therefore, all the major races had their own secret techniques related to the divine dragon race. Many secret techniques could be used to condense the form of a divine dragon to attack. For example, the divine dragon aspect technique. Of course, there were even more people who cultivated secret techniques related to the divine dragon race. For example, the famous snake race and python race in the universe loved to cultivate secret techniques related to the divine dragon race. It was normal for Lu Ming to cultivate the primordial divine dragon body. If you don't believe me, you can take a look at this. After saying that, Lu Ming's glabella lit up and the dreamy sacred jade appeared. I have the dreamy sacred jade. This proves that I'm not a native, right? Lu Ming said. It's really the dreamy sacred jade. He refined the dreamy sacred jade. It seems that what he said is true. He came from the outside just like us. So it was a mistake after all this time. Many people shook their heads in disappointment. Initially, if they killed Lu Ming, they would be rewarded by the 3 clans. Now it was proven that Lu Ming was the same as them. He came from the outside and was not a local. In that case, there would be no reward for killing Lu Ming. There was no reward, and there was no enmity between them and Lu Ming. Why would they kill him? So there was a mistake. Then the meteor race will not participate in this. The heavenly rock race will not participate either. We will not participate either. The experts of the various races shook their heads and retreated, indicating that they would not get involved in this mess. The faces of Yi Shun and the others turned ugly. Soon only 10 of the 100 races did not retreat. Everyone, we have no enmity between us. If we fight, it won't be good for us. Lu Ming looked at the other races. There were a few races that had a good relationship with the Winged Men and the Wu people, but they were hesitating at the moment. Humph, even if it's just the Winged Men, we can still kill you. Yi Shun snorted. His face was gloomy and murderous. Count the Wu people in. A young man from the Wu people said coldly. More than 100 Wu people were emitting black qi. Count us in. Another race said. This was a plant race that was formed by vines. Lu Ming had killed one of their top prodigies, and they would eventually settle the score. Count us in. Another clan spoke. This was the Divine Bull clan. Previously, a top-notch demon from their clan had died in Lu Ming's hands. In the end, a total of 4 races made it clear that they wanted to kill Lu Ming. Chapter 36-35. There were a total of 4 races guarding the 4 directions. Each race had at least 100 people. Powerful auras gathered and pressed down on Lu Ming. The air was filled with oppressive pressure. Why are you talking so much nonsense with him? Just attack. A sky pride of the Wu people said in a harsh voice. Then, more than 100 young men of the Wu people formed a battle formation. Each of them took out a divine artifact, which was a sound wave-type divine artifact. Dong 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 dong, all kinds of sounds were heard at the same time. Then, they gathered together and rushed toward Lu Ming. So many people formed a battle formation and launched soul attacks at the same time. Even Lu Ming's expression changed. He didn't dare to be careless. With so many people attacking at the same time, even the wicked bell would not be able to withstand it. Their souls would be shattered. Therefore, the moment the Wu people attacked, Lu Ming condensed the Wind Destroyer boots and merged them with his feet. There was no suppression in the sky above the island. The power of the Wind Destroyer boots could be fully displayed. With a step in the air, Lu Ming's figure disappeared from the spot with a swoosh. The next moment, he appeared behind the winged men, causing the wizard clan's soul attack to miss. Kill. The sky prides of the winged men roared. They formed a battle formation and launched their attacks. Their attacks converged into a vast sword light and slashed toward Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming naturally wouldn't fight with so many people. He flashed and dodged the attack. Get out of the way. Let us do it. The Wu people shouted. Now that Lu Ming was behind the winged men, the Wu people couldn't launch their soul attacks. Otherwise, the winged men would bear the brunt of the soul attacks, not Lu Ming. To the right. The god of wings shouted, and ordered the winged men to retreat to the right to make room for the sorcerer tribesmen. However, how could Lu Ming let them have their way? As soon as the winged men moved, he moved as well. He hid behind the winged men, not giving the Wu people an angle to attack. The winged men were furious. They launched attacks at Lu Ming. However, with their combined strength, they could only launch a single attack. With Lu Ming's speed, he easily dodged their attacks. There's no need to use soul attacks. We'll just surround him and crush him directly. A Heaven's Pride leader of the Divine Ox clan roared. He led the Divine Ox clan people to form a battle formation and rushed over from another direction to surround Lu Ming. Ring ring ring. Lu Ming manipulated the wicked bell, and his soul attack turned into sound waves that spread out, rushing toward the Winged Men clan and the Divine Ox clan. The people of the Wu people were in another direction. They were blocked by the people of the Winged Men clan. Naturally, they could not provide any support. Now that Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through to the third level of the Divine Lord realm, the power of the wicked bell was even more terrifying. Many people's bodies stiffened as they revealed expressions of pain. They felt as though their souls were being pierced by sharp swords. Ah! Someone screamed. Even if they formed a battle formation, they would not be able to withstand the soul attacks. Then let's kill. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. His cultivation of the third level of the Divine Lord realm erupted completely. Moreover, he had activated 8 drops of primordial divine blood. Lu Ming felt that his body was filled with explosive power. Swoosh! Lu Ming turned into a dazzling spear light and stabbed at a Winged Men clan's pride. However, the Winged Men clan's pride was not afraid because he was in a battle formation. Being in a battle formation, they were one. Slash! The Winged Men clan youth roared. His body glowed, and the entire battle formation emitted a dazzling light. Then a battle sword slashed at Lu Ming. Boom! The battle sword collided with Lu Ming's spear light. The spear light shook violently and a terrifying force surged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body trembled and he retreated. What a powerful force! Lu Ming frowned. Although his current strength was shocking, the Winged Men clan's battle formation had gathered the strength of more than 200 people. The combined strength of more than 200 sky prides was too terrifying. Moo! A bull's roar came from behind. A giant bull roared and rushed toward Lu Ming. Its 2 horns were like 2 heavenly blades. This was the battle formation formed by the Divine Bull clan. It launched a terrifying attack. The energy gathered to form a heavenly bull. Its strength was shocking. Lu Ming naturally would not take it head-on. His figure flashed and he dodged the attack. Then the Winged Men clan, Divine Bull clan, and Vine Men clan continued to attack. However, Lu Ming had the support of the wind extinguishing boots and his speed was amazing. He dodged them one by one. The Wu people wanted to rush forward, but Lu Ming kept dodging the Wu people. He isolated the Wu people behind a certain race, so that they could not attack Lu Ming directly. The Wu people were furious. After dozens of attacks, the 4 races could not even touch the corner of Lu Ming's clothes. Damn it, kid. If you have the ability, don't dodge. Fight head-on. The Winged Men clan roared. You 4 races have surrounded me with hundreds of people and formed a battle formation. You want me to fight head-on? Is this the behavior of the major races on the list of primitive 10,000 races? You're really shameless. Fine, I'll fight you head-on. Come on, let's fight one-on-one. Lu Ming's mocking voice sounded. No one answered. Indeed, With so many people besieging Lu Ming was not allowed to dodge? How could this be? This can't go on. I have to think of a way to separate them. Lu Ming thought quickly. The 4 races had formed a battle formation. There were at least 100 people from each race, and their strength was connected. This force was too strong. Even if Lu Ming used his full strength, he would not be a match for them. He had to separate them. I'm not going to play with you anymore. Goodbye. Lu Ming's voice sounded, and then he suddenly rushed out. It seemed that he was going to leave this place. Don't let him escape. He's trying to escape. Chase him. Immediately, roars were heard. They thought that Lu Ming was going to escape. This time, all the major clans had gathered here to besiege Lu Ming, and they had even formed a battle formation. If Lu Ming were to escape, they would be utterly embarrassed. Especially the Winged Men clan. Kid, stay here. God of Wings of the Winged Men clan roared and chased after Lu Ming as fast as he could. A few other top experts of the Winged Men clan also chased after Lu Ming. In addition, the top geniuses of the Divine Ox clan, Wu people, and other clans did the same. If they formed a battle formation, their speed would be too slow and they would definitely not be able to catch up with Lu Ming. Therefore, some of the strongest geniuses left the battle formation and chased after Lu Ming. In this way, the battle formation of the major clans was suddenly broken. This is a good chance. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. His body suddenly stopped, and then he flickered a few times. His phantoms were all over the sky. He directly avoided God of Wings and the other strongest people, and rushed into the crowd of the Winged Men clan. Oh no! The faces of the Winged Men clan and the others changed drastically. Kill! Lu Ming roared, and the tyrant god spear burst out. In an instant, at least a dozen terrifying spear lights stabbed in all directions. Chapter 36-36. Lu Ming was surrounded by members of the Winged Men clan. Because the Winged Men clan's formation was dispersed, Lu Ming seized the opportunity to rush into the crowd. Dozens of spear lights pierced toward dozens of members of the Winged Men clan. Most of the Winged Men clan's prodigies were 3rd-level divine lords. Lu Ming was now on the same level as them. At the same level, Lu Ming's combat ability was much stronger than theirs. Even if it was scattered into dozens of streaks, the power of each spear light was enough to kill those 3rd-level divine lords. Puff! 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 Blood splattered everywhere as screams rang out. In an instant, more than 30 Winged Men clan's prodigies were pierced by the spear light and died on the spot. Their corpses fell onto the small island. Yishun's eyes turned red when he saw this scene. Ah, damn it. Retreat, retreat quickly. Yishun roared crazily. Retreat quickly. The Winged Men clan also panicked and retreated frantically. However, was there any way to retreat? The answer was no. Kill. Lu Ming roared as the tyrant god spear stabbed and swept out continuously. The entire sky was filled with spear lights. This was a massacre. In a battle of the same level, those so-called prodigies were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered when facing Lu Ming. They couldn't withstand a single blow. Every move and every spear would kill a Winged Men clan's prodigy. In addition, Lu Ming's speed was too fast. These Winged Men clan's prodigies couldn't dodge at all. In an instant, dozens of people died in Lu Ming's hands. In just a short while, 60 to 70 Winged Men clan's prodigies were killed by Lu Ming. Ah, die. Yishun finally rushed back. His eyes were filled with malevolent killing intent. One side of his body was silver white while the other side was golden yellow, emitting a dazzling radiance. He dashed toward Lu Ming. 2 rays of dazzling sword gleams, 1 gold and 1 silver, slashed toward Lu Ming. 5th-level divine lords. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. The Winged Men clan was well deserving of being a top major clan ranked 130 on the primeval 10,000 races list. The strongest person who came here this time, Wing God, actually already reached 5th-level divine lord. Although it looked like he had just broken through not long ago. Very good. No matter how many ordinary geniuses I kill, it's better to kill a top genius. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he brandished the Overlord God Spear and swept it towards Winged God. Boom. After 2 loud explosions, Yishun's body trembled violently as he retreated. Your power. Ishan roared in shock. He was somewhat in disbelief. He was the strongest prodigy of the Winged Men clan that entered this place this time. Moreover, he had already broken through to the 5th level Divine Lord realm. His cultivation was 1 level higher than Lu Ming's. In a head-on confrontation, he was actually no match for Lu Ming. Kill. Lu Ming could not be bothered with Winged God. He continued to attack Winged God. Although Winged God was very strong, his cultivation just broke through to 5th level Divine Lord not long ago. His foundation was not even stable yet. And Lu Ming had activated 8 drops of primordial divine blood just now. His power was already above Winged God's. Of course, it was still not enough. The moment he attacked, Lu Ming activated 2 more drops of primordial divine blood. Activating 10 drops of primordial divine blood made his power even more shocking. Boom. Lu Ming's long spear was like a dragon, several thousand meters long. It pressed down on Winged God like a mountain range. This was Winged God's origin secret technique. When the origin secret technique exploded, Winged God suffered a backlash. His body shook violently as he vomited blood wildly. Ding-ling-ling. The heavenly evil bell rang continuously. At the same time, Lu Ming became one with his spear and attacked Winged God. No. Winged God roared in despair. The next moment, his body was penetrated by Lu Ming. His eyes were filled with disbelief and despair. He was unwilling to accept this. Following that, cracks appeared on his body. The next moment, his body directly exploded, and he died on the spot. The strongest prodigy of the Winged Men who had entered this place this time had died. All of this happened in an extremely short time. Even if the others wanted to save him, they wouldn't be able to. What a powerful battle strength. There were over 100 large races and countless prodigies in the surroundings. At this moment, they all gasped. Winged God had already broken through to the 5th level of the Divine Lord realm. His power was absolutely terrifying, but he couldn't stop Lu Ming. In just a few moves, he was killed by Lu Ming. This was truly terrifying. He's from the human race, right? Yes, he's indeed from the human race. There's always a rumor that the human race is a special race. They're scattered throughout the universe. At first, they're weak, but their potential is endless. Many terrifying existences have been born in history. That's right. There's even a taboo. Many people were discussing. After some people said the word taboo, they stopped abruptly and revealed a fearful expression. They didn't dare to say more. At this moment, the Winged Men around Lu Ming had already fled far away. They didn't dare to approach Lu Ming at all. The Wu people, the Divine Bull tribe, and the Vine tribe were even more shocked. They quickly gathered together and formed a battle formation. They didn't dare to disperse. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the storage rings of the prodigies of the Winged Men he had just killed. Looks like there's no chance. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. After the killing just now, the remaining Wu people and the Divine Bull tribe wouldn't dare to disperse. If they didn't disperse, Lu Ming wouldn't have a chance to kill them. This isn't over yet. A ray of cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Without a battle formation, you won't be able to withstand a single blow. Lu Ming sneered and then rushed out of the small island. The Wu people and the Divine Bull tribe didn't dare to disperse at all. They could only watch as Lu Ming rushed out of the small island and disappeared in front of them. When he went out, the giant waves wouldn't attack him. Lu Ming easily got out of the Tsonglang Lake. After leaving the Tsonglang Lake, Lu Ming didn't leave. Instead, he found a secluded place to hide and observe the entire Tsonglang Lake. Even if they didn't chase after him, it didn't mean that Lu Ming would let it go. With so many people besieging him, Lu Ming didn't want to let it go. Anyway, he had offended the Wu people, the Winged Men and the Divine Bull tribe. There was no room for reconciliation. So Lu Ming wouldn't let them have it easy. He wanted to kill them until they were terrified. After hiding, Lu Ming took out the illusory sacred jade and watched it. Sure enough, the illusory sacred jade was in an uproar. There were so many races and people. Naturally, someone had recorded everything with the illusory sacred jade. There were even videos from different angles. They could watch it however they wanted. This caused an uproar. whether it was inside or outside the Dragon Clan's mother planet. First, to everyone's surprise, Lu Ming wasn't a native of the Dragon Clan's mother planet. He was a human who came from outside. Therefore, most of the races didn't attack Lu Ming. Second, Lu Ming's strength was beyond everyone's expectations. The winged men suffered heavy losses. Even the strongest genius who entered the Dragon Clan's mother planet, the winged god, was killed. The winged men were shocked. The winged men who were rushing over was furious. They swore to kill Lu Ming in the illusory sacred jade. But this time, the three major clans didn't say anything. After all, they wanted to kill a native, and Lu Ming wasn't a native of the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Even if he was strong, the three major clans wouldn't be interested. Chapter 36-37. The top 10 races in the universe were too powerful. Naturally, they were not to be underestimated. Since Lu Ming was not a native of the dragon race, even if he had some strength, he could not attract the interest of the three races. In terms of talent, there were countless talented geniuses in the three major clans. Although the winged god was considered a top-notch monster in the winged men race, he was nothing in the top 10 races. He couldn't even be ranked. Lu Ming looked at it for a while, then put it away and waited. As expected, not long after, people could be seen walking out from the center of the Tsonglang Lake. Lu Ming had taken all the treasures on that island. There was no point for those people to stay there. Naturally, they would not stay for long. The Wu people are coming out too. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He saw that the people from the sorcerer tribe had also come out from a certain direction. Lu Ming walked along the lakeside and quietly headed in that direction. The Wu people were very cautious. They were still maintaining their formation. Obviously, they were afraid that Lu Ming would sneak up on them. However, when they left the lake and found that they were not attacked, many of them were slightly relieved. The prodigies of more than 100 races scattered and left in different directions. The sorcerer tribesmen also left in the same direction. Lu Ming concealed his aura and slowly chased after them. He did not make a move. Now was not the best time. Lu Ming followed them for a few hours. Sure enough, after a few hours, the Wu people were completely relaxed. They did not continue to maintain their formation, and flew forward casually. Now, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He stepped on the wind-extinguishing boots and rushed out suddenly. With a flash of light and shadow, Lu Ming dashed to the back of the sorcerer tribe's team. With a thought, the gate of domination flew out and became extremely huge, suppressing the void. Then the overlord spear appeared and stabbed out dozens of spear lights. Lu Ming's speed was too fast. These sorcerer tribesmen did not have time to react. The spear lights pierced through dozens of Wu people and killed them on the spot. It's Lu Ming. Damn it. Watch out. Form the formation. The Wu people shouted. However, Lu Ming would not give them the chance to do so. Once he attacked continuously. Dazzling spear gleams burst forth and more than 10 sorcerers were killed. More than 100 Wu people were killed in the blink of an eye. At this moment, many sorcerers launched their attacks. All kinds of soul attacks surged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming flashed rapidly to avoid the other party's soul attack. At the same time, he used the Bell of Heavenly Evil to offset the other party's soul attack. Kill! Lu Ming yelled. This time, he unleashed all his energy. All 18 drops of primordial divine blood were unleashed. Lu Ming's power reached its peak. Boom! Lu Ming held the overlord spear with both hands and swung it from top to bottom. The power was too strong. The space shook violently. The terrifying power had actually blasted the sorcerer tribe's soul attack away and destroyed it directly. It seems that the Wu people's soul attacks are not invincible. As long as one's power is strong enough, one can break their soul attacks. Lu Ming's heart stirred. After all, soul attacks were just a kind of energy. They were strange, but as long as they were energy, they could be broken. Otherwise, the Wu people would not be ranked in the top 100. Those races that were stronger than the Wu people were not afraid of the Wu people's soul attacks. At this moment, Lu Ming was valiant and invincible. He brandished his long spear and broke through the soul attack of the sorcerer tribe, charging forward. Every time he swung his spear, a Wu people elite was killed. With the gate of domination suppressing the void, the Wu people's elites could not even use scarecrows. To others, the prodigies of the sorcerer tribe might be very tricky and difficult to deal with. However, to Lu Ming, they were easier to kill than other prodigies. One spear strike, one or several. The Wu people's elites were killed one by one. It's you, kid. The Wu people will not let you go. How ruthless. The Wu people's elites will avenge us. The Wu people's elites roared, but in the next moment, they were all killed by Lu Ming's spear. There were also 4th-level divine lords in the sorcerer tribe. However, in the face of the current Lu Ming, they could not even escape and could not escape the fate of being killed. Towards the end, the sorcerer tribesmen had already started to flee in all directions. However, Lu Ming's speed was too fast. His 3rd-level divine lord divine power flowed into the wind destroyer boots, increasing his speed to the extreme. The Wu people could not escape at all. Half an hour later, Lu Ming stopped. More than 100 Wu people's elites had been killed by Lu Ming. Not a single one was left alive. After putting away the Wu people's elite storage rings, Lu Ming left and headed for the Black Dragon Valley. Now that his strength had increased by a lot, he could go deeper into the Black Dragon Valley. Not long after Lu Ming left, a few figures appeared on the battlefield where Lu Ming and the Wu people's elites had been fighting. These figures were the elites who had been in the vicinity. They had heard the sounds of the battle. However, they had not dared to come over at first. They had only dared to approach after the battle had ended, and the sounds had disappeared. Then, as soon as they arrived, they were shocked. Corpses were strewn all over the ground, and some of them had even exploded. The smell of blood filled their nostrils. From the situation at the scene, they could see the horror of the battle. The Wu people. These are the elites of the Wu people. The young men's faces were pale as they trembled uncontrollably. They were from a small race that was not even ranked on the primitive 10,000 races list. The Wu people were definitely a powerful race that they could not reach. But now these powerful Wu people's elites were all dead. Who is it that can kill so many geniuses of the sorcerer tribe? It must be someone stronger than the Wu people, right? The young men discuss fervently. Not necessarily. You have seen the situation in the Dreamy Divine Jade previously. Lu Ming alone killed so many elites from the Wing clan despite being surrounded by the 4 major clans. Perhaps it is him? It's hard to say. It's obvious that Lu Ming has a deep grudge against the Wu people. Let's record it and send it to the Dreamy Heavenly Jade. Immediately, the young men took out their Dreamy Heavenly Jades to record the scene and send it to the Dreamy Heavenly Jade. The Dreamy Heavenly Jade was shaken. More than 100 Wu people's elites had been killed not long after they had left. Who could it be? Everyone immediately thought of Lu Ming. Many people looked at each other in shock. The more they thought about it, the more likely it was. Soon Lu Ming's name spread across the universe. When the Wu people's elites saw the news, they were furious. It was said that some of the Wu people's elites had rushed over from the Wu people's headquarters. Of course, Lu Ming saw everything as well. He sneered and was not bothered. Chapter 36-38. After returning to the Black Dragon Valley, Lu Ming did not enter the Black Dragon Valley immediately. Instead, he began to cultivate. He still had some Genesis grass in his hands. After refining it, his strength would increase a little. It would not be too late to enter the Black Dragon Valley then. 10 days later, Lu Ming refined all the Genesis grass in his hands. Lu Ming had another 2 types of divine powers that had undergone 5 awakenings. In this way, Lu Ming had a total of 7 types of divine powers that had undergone 5 awakenings. His overall strength had increased by a little again. After that, Lu Ming entered the Black Dragon Valley and explored it. This time, Lu Ming had greatly improved. With his current battle strength, even if he was suppressed, killing a 5th-level Divine Lord was a piece of cake. He could even kill a 6th-level Divine Lord. Therefore, Lu Ming had greatly improved this time, and obtained a large amount of divine herbs. Inside, there were a total of 9 stalks of Genesis grass. In addition, he obtained several hundred stalks of various divine herbs. There were even a few stalks of divine herbs that were of very high grade. They were extremely helpful to divine emperors. It was a pity that Lu Ming could not refine divine herbs of this grade. Even if he gave the measure formula, the refining speed would not be that fast. Lu Ming had already given the measure formula a stock of such divine herb previously. Although energy was refined and poured into Lu Ming's body every day, it was impossible for Lu Ming's cultivation to skyrocket all of a sudden. It only increased Lu Ming's cultivation speed. Lu Ming was already very satisfied. In the primitive universe, monarch pills were the currency of the Divine Lord realm. However, the divine herbs here were much more effective than monarch pills. If he refined all of these, it would greatly increase Lu Ming's cultivation speed. However, Lu Ming did not intend to refine these divine herbs because his cultivation had skyrocketed during this period of time. It had only been a few months and his cultivation had skyrocketed from first-level Divine Lord Realm to third-level Divine Lord Realm. He had to stop and polish his foundation. Once his foundation was incomparably stable, he would continue to improve. However, the life origin grass could be refined. When Lu Ming left the Black Dragon Valley and returned to the Black Dragon family, he suddenly sensed that someone was sending him a message from the dream god Jade. Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. There was only one person who knew the name of his illusory godly Jade, and that was Man Ning, who came from the sacred Fire Saber sect with him. When Lu Ming had rushed into the Dragon Clan's mother planet, he had been attacked by 10,000 dragon seals. He had thrown Man Ning away. During this time he hadn't heard any news from Man Ning. Originally, Lu Ming had thought that Man Ning had encountered a mishap. After all, it wasn't safe on the dragon race's home planet either. The prodigies of various races were secretly killing each other. He's nearby. According to Man Ning's message, he was not far away. Lu Ming replied to Man Ning's message, and then rushed towards the message sent by Man Ning. Not long after, Lu Ming saw Man Ning on a mountain peak. "Miss Manning, how have you been?" Lu Ming smiled and sized up Man Ning. He discovered that her cultivation was still at the third-level Divine Lord realm. Brother Lu is now limitless and famous all over the world. Man Ning admires you. Man Ning smiled faintly. When she looked at Lu Ming, her eyes were extremely complicated. Lu Ming was merely the same as her, from the sacred Fire Saber sect. Furthermore, Lu Ming was not even a disciple of the sacred Fire Saber sect. Clearly, his background was even worse than hers. But not long after entering the dragon race's home planet, Lu Ming had already soared to the sky, even making those major races on the Chaos 10,000 races list fearful. And now, Lu Ming's cultivation was even more unfathomable by Man Ning. She was envious and helpless in her heart. Perhaps this was the difference between people. What limitless? I'm being hunted down every day now. My head hurts. Lu Ming laughed bitterly and said again, "Oh right, how has Miss Man Ning been recently?" Sigh. Man Ning sighed and told him about her situation during this period of time. Back then, when she was thrown away by Lu Ming, she did not suffer the attack of the 10,000 dragon seals. Therefore, she was not injured and maintained her peak condition. Therefore, she quickly occupied a ruin. In the beginning, she obtained quite a number of opportunities. Unfortunately, good times did not last long. As those prodigies of the major races rapidly recovered, the ruin she occupied was snatched away by other major races. She was forced to flee. After a period of time, she wandered everywhere. However, there were figures of major races everywhere. She alone had no competitiveness at all. In fact, it was not just her. Those races and factions that were not on the Chaos 10,000 races list also did not have much competitiveness. Firstly, they had fewer people. Secondly, their combat strength was still very far from those major races. The stronger the race, the greater the gap between them. Under such circumstances, these small races and factions might not even have a chance to drink soup. Therefore, these small races and factions all joined forces and occupied some small ruins with their advantage in numbers. As for Man Ning, he had joined such an organization. Lu Ming nodded. Although the dragon race's mother planet was very big, the number of ruins and cultivation's sacred grounds was limited. Almost all the major races and factions in the entire primitive universe except for the top 100 had come. One could imagine how fierce the competition was. The ruins and sacred grounds on the dragon race's mother planet were not enough to be distributed. Without strength, one could not obtain many resources at all. There were very few people like Lu Ming who occupied several ruins alone. Miss Man Ning, why are you looking for me? Lu Ming asked. Lu Ming, I heard some things from others. The remaining winged men, Wu people, and other races do not intend to let you go. In addition, I also heard that some of the winged men entered the dragon race's mother planet more than 30 years ago. Man Ning said. More than 30 years ago. Lu Ming frowned slightly. His face was a little solemn. More than 30 years ago, it was also a weak period of the 10,000 dragon seals. There was a group of people who broke through the 18 weak points. But even if it was a weak period at that time, it was still very dangerous. Most of the geniuses who broke through the weak points died. But who could guarantee that no one succeeded in breaking in? Lu Ming suspected that most people had succeeded in breaking in. These people had entered 33 years earlier than Lu Ming and the others. Even if they were seriously injured when they entered, their injuries must have healed long ago after so many years. Moreover, they had cultivated on the dragon race's mother planet for so many years. How strong would their cultivation be? It was probably very shocking. The only thing that made Lu Ming feel a little relieved was that the 10,000 dragon seals had a stronger repulsion towards those with higher cultivation. For example, when Lu Ming and the others entered, only 3rd-level Divine Lords were allowed to enter. If 4th-level Divine Lords forced their way in, they would definitely die. Of course, as time passed, the repulsion of the 10,000 dragon seals weakened. During the next week period, it might allow 4th-level Divine Lords or even those with higher cultivation to enter here. However, more than 30 years ago, it seemed that the repulsion towards 3rd-level Divine Lords was also very strong. Therefore, those who entered at that time were likely 2nd-level or 1st-level Divine Lords. Therefore, even if they entered a few decades earlier, their cultivation should not be too exaggerated. Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Chapter 36-39. Brother Lu, I heard that the winged men have gone to invite this prodigy who entered more than 30 years ago. I'm afraid it won't be long before he arrives. You have to be careful. Man Ning said. Thank you for your reminder. Lu Ming cupped his fists. It's just a small matter. Brother Lu, you don't have to thank me. If it wasn't for you back then, I would have died under the 10,000 dragon seals. All right, I've brought the news. I won't disturb Brother Lu's cultivation anymore. Man Ning cupped her fists and was about to leave. Miss Man Ning, this is for you. Lu Ming waved his hand and a storage ring flew to Man Ning. Man Ning subconsciously caught it and scanned it with her spiritual consciousness. She was pleasantly surprised. There were 9 stalks of divine herbs in the storage ring. Brother Lu, this is... Man Ning looked at Lu Ming. Nothing much. Thank you for your news. Lu Ming smiled and returned to the Black Dragon family. He didn't let Man Ning stay. With one more person, he would be distracted. It was most comfortable to be alone. Watching Lu Ming walk into the Black Dragon family, Man Ning took a deep breath and suppressed the excitement in her heart. 9 stalks of divine herbs. This was a huge harvest. Now some of the smaller clans and factions had gathered together. Although they had occupied the ruins, they had too many people. It was too difficult for them to get a stalk of divine herb. Apart from the time when Man Ning had just entered the dragon race's mother planet and obtained some divine herbs, she rarely obtained any after that. With these 9 stalks of divine herbs and the ones I have, I can break through to the 4th level Divine Lord realm in one go. Man Ning's eyes flashed with a wisp of light. Once she broke through to the 4th level Divine Lord realm, she would have more say in the organization she was in. Man Ning carefully kept the 9 stalks of divine herbs and turned to leave. Black Dragon family. I entered the dragon race's mother planet more than 30 years ago. What realm has my cultivation reached now? Lu Ming pondered. Forget it. I'll improve myself first. Lu Ming shook his head. He took out the Genesis grass and began refining it. The Genesis grass was the fastest way to improve one's strength. As Lu Ming began to refine the Genesis grass, a storm was brewing in the outside world. This was because in this period of time, the number of local dragons and mystical dragons had increased. From time to time, they would appear to hunt down the geniuses of the outsiders. During this period of time, battles were raging all over the Dragon Clan's mother planet. There was also a legend that the prodigy who had entered the Dragon Clan's mother planet more than 30 years ago was about to come out. After coming out of seclusion, he would personally hunt down these Dragon Clan natives. For a moment, there were those who were looking forward to it, while there were also those who were feeling heavy-hearted. Because those who entered the mother planet of the Dragon Clan more than 30 years ago had cultivated for such a long time. How strong were those people? Among the group of people who had recently entered the Dragon Clan's mother planet, there probably weren't many who could match up to them, right? Also, how many people had managed to break into the Dragon Clan's home planet more than 30 years ago? Time passed day by day. Not long after, the winged men released a message in the dreamy heavenly jade. More than 30 years ago, someone from the Winged Men clan had successfully entered the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Now they were about to end their seclusion and go kill Lu Ming. For a time, it attracted the attention of all parties. As for Lu Ming, he had been speeding up his cultivation. The Genesis grass was refined one by one, and Lu Ming's divine power of origin factor was also constantly breaking through. Previously, he had a total of 7 types of divine power, which had achieved 5 awakenings. After he had refined all 9 Genesis grass, he had a total of 10 types of divine power, which had achieved 5 awakenings. This had increased Lu Ming's combat strength by a few points. Is it coming? Lu Ming looked at the message in the dreamy heavenly jade. Then let's fight, Lu Ming whispered. Then he entered the dreamy heavenly jade and began to speak. I am Lu Ming. Lu Ming's first sentence caused an uproar in the dreamy heavenly jade. Countless people replied to his one sentence. Of course, this also confirmed that Lu Ming was not a local, but an outsider. Bastards of the Winged Men. I will wait for you at the Surging Waves Peak beside the Surging Waves Lake. I will cut off your heads. This was Lu Ming's second sentence, which caused an even greater commotion. Lu Ming was challenging the Winged Men. At first, the Winged Men said that they would invite their prodigy who had entered the Dragon Clan's mother planet more than 30 years ago to kill Lu Ming. Now Lu Ming had directly challenged the Winged Men. The Winged Men had quickly announced that they would kill Lu Ming at the Surging Waves Peak. Let's go to the Surging Waves Peak. That Lu Ming's combat strength is strong, but the Winged Men's prodigy who had entered the Dragon Clan more than 30 years ago. I wonder what his cultivation level is? Don't miss it. It will definitely be exciting. Many people were curious and went to the Surging Waves Lake. For a time, the Surging Waves Lake became lively again. However, Lu Ming did not go to the Surging Waves Lake immediately. He still had important things to do. He did not forget to look for Xian Yinqing and Autumn Moon. Now he only had people from the Black Dragon Clan, the Blood Dragon Hall, and the Golden Dragon Clan to inquire about Xian Yinqing and Autumn Moon. But there were too few of them. Lu Ming took action and gathered the people from the local forces nearby. As for the outsiders, they were all killed by Lu Ming at lightning speed. Slowly, Lu Ming gathered more than a dozen local forces of the Dragon Human Clan to help Lu Ming inquire about Xian Yinqing and Autumn Moon. Then Lu Ming rushed to the Surging Waves Lake. During this time, countless people had gathered at the Surging Waves Peak beside the Surging Waves Lake. They were all prodigies from various clans. The Winged Men are here. Someone shouted. Sure enough, streams of light flew over from a direction. They were all prodigies of the Winged Men clan. The person in the lead was a young man in a green robe. All the prodigies of the Winged Men clan were slightly behind this young man. When they looked at him, their eyes were full of respect. He's here. This man in green robe is the prodigy of the Winged Men clan who entered the Dragon Clan's mother planet 33 years ago, right? Many people's eyes fell on the young man in green robe. This person was handsome and his eyes were sharp. When he opened and closed his eyes, it was as if 2 sharp swords burst out. Can you see this person's cultivation level? I can't. This person's aura is strong and unfathomable. At least it's above mine. If it's above yours, wouldn't it be at least a 5th-level Divine Lord? Not far away, a few young men were secretly talking. These young men were top prodigies from several large clans. Their cultivation levels had already reached the 5th level Divine Lord. However, they couldn't see through the young man in green robe's cultivation level. At least, it meant that the young man in green robe's cultivation level was above theirs. They came in a few decades earlier than us. Even if their cultivation levels weren't as high as ours when they came in back then, they have cultivated for so many years. How many resources have they obtained over these years? I'm afraid it's no small matter. These people were previously in seclusion in different sacred grounds. Now that they are going to come out, our good days may be coming to an end. These prodigies were secretly discussing, feeling a little unhappy. Chapter 3640. Whoosh. The green-robed young man stepped out and landed on the peak of Surging Wave Peak. He closed his eyes and rested. Where's Lu Ming? He's the one who asked us to fight here, but he hasn't shown up yet. Is he too afraid to come? A winged man Sky Pride shouted. His voice echoed in all directions and was filled with provocation. Back at Surging Wave Lake, these winged men were scared out of their wits by Lu Ming's massacre. They fled pathetically and did not dare to say anything arrogant. Now that the green-robed young man was here, they were full of confidence and immediately became arrogant again. Lu Ming hasn't arrived yet. We haven't seen him yet. People from the other races spoke one after another. Some of them had arrived long ago, but they had not seen Lu Ming yet. Then let's wait, the green-robed young man on Surging Wave Peak said. For a moment, the surroundings fell into silence. Time passed day by day. Soon 6 days had passed. Lu Ming had not arrived yet. It's been 6 days, but that kid still hasn't arrived. He's really scared and has become a coward. I think he doesn't dare to accept the challenge at all. When he heard that the winged men had a Sky Pride who entered more than 30 years ago, he was probably scared to death. Challenging Senior Lei Yi is just for show. That's right, I think so too. The winged men discussed animatedly. Some even scolded Lu Ming in the illusory space, trying to provoke Lu Ming to come out. Soon, another 2 days had passed, but Lu Ming still had not arrived. Where's the ruin that Lu Ming occupied? I'll go there personally. At this moment, the green-robed young man Lei Yi suddenly opened his eyes. Bolts of lightning shot out from his eyes, and a loud rumble resounded in the sky. The power was shocking, as if it was a punishment from the heavens. Obviously, Lei Yi was angry. After waiting for so many days, he had lost his patience. Don't look for me, I'm here. At this moment, a voice came from the distant horizon. Following that, a figure stepped on the air and arrived. It's really Lu Ming. He's here. I didn't expect him to really dare to come. This is going to be a good show. Many people started discussing excitedly when they saw Lu Ming. Lei Yi also looked at Lu Ming, lightning flashing in his eyes. Lu Ming's speed was very fast. With just a few steps, he arrived at the peak of Surging Wave Peak and landed on the peak, facing Lei Yi. Brat, you're finally here. I thought you were going to be a coward. A youth from the Winged Men clan sneered. Oh my, you're so arrogant now. Last time, you were beaten by me until you ran away in a sorry state, crying for your parents. I remember that you were one of them. Lu Ming's gaze was filled with mockery as he looked at the winged man who had just spoken. You. The winged man couldn't help but blush with shame and indignation. Back then, Lu Ming slaughtered everyone and broke the winged clan's battle formation. He was indeed scared out of his wits and ran for his life, crying for his parents. That was truly frightening. But now that Lu Ming had brought it up in front of everyone, it was an extremely embarrassing matter. Lu Ming, right? I didn't expect that you could kill so many people from my Winged Men clan with your mere 3rd-level Divine Lord cultivation. Very good, very good. Lei Yi spoke at this moment, looking at Lu Ming, a cold light flashing in his eyes. Very good indeed. It'll be even better after I kill you. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Kill me? With just you? You're still far from it. I'll let you understand the difference between you and me. Lei Yi sneered. Boom. In the next moment, a shocking aura suddenly erupted from Lei Yi's body. An incomparably dense and ancient aura spread out from his body. Zzz, Lei Yi's body was covered with lightning, as if he had turned into a person of lightning. Origin Divine Power Factor, 6 Awakenings, and a 6th level Divine Lord cultivation. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly narrowed. The moment Lei Yi erupted, Lu Ming could feel that this Lei Yi's strength was extremely shocking. As expected of someone who had entered 30 years earlier than them, the other party must have obtained a lot of treasures. For example, treasures like the Genesis grass and various divine medicines. Therefore, the other party's origin divine power factor had already awakened 6 times. This was the first time Lu Ming had encountered an origin divine power factor that had awakened 6 times. So strong. Many spectators in the surroundings also revealed shocked expressions. Kill! Lei Yi shouted coldly. He pressed his palm, and the lightning in the sky turned into a huge lightning eagle that charged at Lu Ming. At this moment, all the divine power in Lu Ming's body was circulating. At the same time, he activated the battle character formula, which increased his battle strength by 5 times. Then the Tyrant God Spear condensed and blasted out. Boom! A violent explosion erupted, and the energy in the sky swept out in all directions like a gale. Amidst the explosion, Lu Ming's body trembled, and he couldn't help but retreat a few steps. So strong! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed again. He felt that the other party's power was extremely violent and domineering. The power was like a landslide. As expected of a 6th level divine lord who had awakened his origin divine power factor 6 times. With such a cultivation level and divine power of this grade, any casual attack would be earth-shattering. To be able to block one of my attacks, your strength is not bad. No wonder you can kill so many of my winged men. However, you won't be able to escape death today. Lei Yi said coldly, and the aura on his body became even more shocking. At the same time, a pair of wings appeared. This was a pair of green wings that were completely formed by lightning. Every feather on it seemed to be made of lightning. This was Lei Yi's origin secret technique, and judging from his aura, he had already severed 2 shackles. This pair of green wings merged with the wings on Lei Yi's back. Boom! Lei Yi's aura became even more explosive, and lightning filled the sky. Ding-ling-ling! Lu Ming immediately used the Bell of Heavenly Evil. He had the upper hand by striking first. The powerful soul attack directly charged toward Lei Yi. With Lu Ming's current cultivation level, the power of the Bell of Evil was very shocking. Soul attack, I've been waiting for this move of yours. Break! Lei Yi shouted, and the 2 wings came together and slashed down like a lightning sword. He wanted to break Lu Ming's soul attack with his powerful strength. His strength was very shocking, and when he slashed down, the space exploded, and it really did offset a part of the soul attack. However, his strength wasn't that strong, and he could only offset a part of the soul attack. There was still a part that rushed into his sea of consciousness, and it affected him slightly. It was enough for Lu Ming to have a slight impact on him. In a battle between experts, the slightest difference could lead to a huge difference. If there was a slight effect, it would also weaken Lei Yi's strength slightly. Following that, Lu Ming condensed the wind-extinguishing boots and merged them with his feet. With a step, Lu Ming rushed towards Lei Yi. At the same time, the 18 drops of primordial divine blood in his body all burst out. The Overlord spear was like a mountain range, and it smashed towards Lei Yi. The power was so strong that the void shook. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.